Storm Tracker 6. This is Forecast First, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
Winter weather advisories will go into effect across mid-Michigan at 10 o'clock tonight, continuing until 9 o'clock this morning, with a chance for a wintry mix of precipitation moving into the area overnight tonight. Satellite and radar shows a very small band of snow currently making its way through the area, but the precipitation we're expecting from this system going to be moving in after midnight. We have a wintry mix of sleet, snow, and freezing rain in the forecast. We'll talk about potential accumulations and impacts you should be expecting coming up in just a bit. 6 News at 5:30 starts right now.
WLNS is here for you with 6 News at 5:30.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Rachel Ramsey. Siobhan has the day off. Let's start the clock on our first 6 minutes of news. We begin tonight with charges being filed against a woman accused of killing her 9-year-old son and burying his remains in their Detroit home's backyard. At a news conference today, Wayne County prosecutor Kim Worthy says the remains of Zemar King were found by the property's landlord in January. Police believe the killing happened sometime in October. Brandy Pierce has since moved to Georgia with her 3-year-old son.
It seems to all of us who do this work on a daily basis, there's been just a large number of tragic cases that have happened to our children, worse than we have seen. So it's our hope that we don't continue to see these, but I know that's probably false hope that I'm having.
Pierce is now in police custody in Georgia, and Worthy says she'll be extradited to Michigan. And in Troy, authorities are still investigating how a hyperbaric chamber being used to treat a 5-year-old boy exploded, killing the child. It happened on Friday, and the boy's mother was injured as well. According to officials, hyperbaric chambers are filled with 100% oxygen, making them combustible, but they have not publicly said what may have led to the explosion. It happened at the Oxford Center, which describes itself as offering, quote, integrative therapy. CBS Detroit reports that the director of the Oxford Center pleaded guilty in August to several felony charges, including impersonating a healthcare professional and witness intimidation. Staying in Detroit, a bus that runs between the Motor City and the Canadian city of Windsor could go away if President Donald Trump's tariffs take effect. The president announced over the weekend that he would impose 25% tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada, but he said on Monday that he was pausing the tariffs on Canada and Mexico for 30 days after both countries agreed to providing additional resources to their borders. Windsor Mayor Drew Dilkins says he'll veto the bus that runs through the Detroit-Windsor Tunnel if the tariffs come back. Meanwhile, experts say they've now confirmed custom agents at the Detroit Metro Airport intercepted rare invasive seed bugs. These bugs are usually found in Europe and the Middle East. They were found on fresh cypress cones being transported by a passenger traveling from Jordan to Ohio. Experts say American cypress and conifer trees would have a low genetic resistance to these bugs. Well, organizers of the 2025 Detroit Auto Show just released attendance numbers saying the event was one of the largest auto shows in the country. According to a news release, there were about 275,000 people attending the 10-day event in January. The statement also says people took more than 100,000 rides in vehicles on the show's 4 indoor tracks. It reportedly provided a $370 million boost to Detroit's economy, including more than $1 million for children's charities. In more Michigan news, the ACLU of Michigan joined with the Michigan Immigrant Rights Center for a virtual news conference on protecting the rights of children in the face of immigration crackdowns by the Trump administration. The president has directed immigration agents to begin enforcement operations in schools, playgrounds, bus stops, and other sensitive areas. A theme of the news conference was that all school-aged children should be provided a public education, no matter their status.
As the son of an immigrant father who labored to better himself and his community, I was raised to value and champion the power of education. I've always been encouraged to live in a country that upholds education for all students, regardless of their background or status.
Officials say they've been responding to requests from districts on how to handle law enforcement entering school grounds. In a New Mexico courtroom on Friday, a man standing trial for murdering his girlfriend was attacked by the woman's family. 2 men jumped the barrier between the public area and the defendant, and then others joined in on the brawl. Corrections officers were able to stop the fighting, and the 2 men were arrested. This is the moment a tractor trailer hit a car and then just kept going with it stuck on the front of the truck. It happened in Georgia last week. Police say the truck driver made an improper lane change when it hit the car. The driver of the car was not hurt, but when the car was finally released, the truck driver just left. He was later found and arrested. And off the coast of Washington State, the U.S. Coast Guard rescued a man from a sailboat when it lost power in rough seas and snowy conditions on Monday. But a woman who was pulled from the water later died. When rescuers got to the boat, it had run aground and the man and woman were both in the water. Rescue divers retrieved both of them. A United States ban on parcels from China and Hong Kong was put in place yesterday, but is already being walked back by the Trump administration. Less than 24 hours after implementing the ban, the USPS said it will resume accepting all inbound mail and packages from China and Hong Kong. The back and forth is linked to a trade fight between President Donald Trump and China that has led each side to impose new tariffs on each other. People in Hong Kong don't believe they should be caught up in Trump versus China politics.
They imposing the duties and the other thing like isekai political war, which is affecting the local people, not just in Hong Kong but in other places too.
President Trump believes that packages from China are one of the ways that deadly fentanyl gets into the U.S., and China's refusal to stop it is the reason, he says, for the 10% tariffs against them. And wrapping up our first 6 minutes of news, a tiger and wild boar both fell into a well in India, making a team of nature experts have to work very carefully to rescue them. Eventually, workers from a tiger preserve were able to lift both animals out and release them into the wild. They say neither one was injured. Well, I'm glad neither one was injured. That could have been, if the tiger got hungry, I mean, that could have been.
I was just going to say, that could have been a fairly
they could have fought.
Messy situation that they had down there.
Truly, yeah.
Yeah, messy nonetheless. And we have a messy situation kind of coming in with our weather.
Good to know.
Yeah, wintry mix moving in overnight tonight. We'll talk all about potential impacts people should be expecting right after the break.
Okay, thank you very much.